My name is Clara May, and I'm 87 years old. The good Lord has allowed me to live a long life, and in those years I've watched the world change in ways my parents could never have imagined. I've seen the first televisions arrive in living rooms, people land on the moon, computers appear in every home, and now little phones that can answer nearly any question. But even with all that progress, there's one thing people seem more confused about than ever: food. Every few months there's a new diet trend, a new supplement, or some miracle powder that promises to fix everything. One week eggs are dangerous, the next week they're healthy again. One doctor says avoid fat, another says fat is good. After hearing all that for decades, I've come to believe something simple. The foods that kept people healthy 100 years ago are still the foods that keep people healthy today. I've never followed a complicated diet. I've simply tried to eat food that comes from nature, not from a factory. Every morning of my life begins with a cup of strong black coffee. I started drinking coffee when I was about 16, not the sweet dessert drinks people buy now, just real coffee. It wakes up the mind, warms the body, and gives you a calm kind of energy to start the day. With breakfast, I almost always have eggs. Eggs have gotten a bad reputation over the years, but I've eaten them most of my life. The yolk, especially, is full of nutrients your brain and eyes need. Sometimes I fry them, sometimes I scramble them, and sometimes I boil them for later in the day. They're simple, filling, and one of the most complete foods there is. Fruit has always been important in my kitchen too. I keep a bowl of apples, oranges, and bananas on the table, and I love berries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. When I was young, we used to pick berries growing wild near our home. My mother always said the colour in fruit is where the goodness lives. Bright fruits are packed with natural compounds that help protect the body. One fruit I enjoy often is a banana, especially in the morning. It gives gentle energy and is easy on the stomach. And a crisp apple in the afternoon is still one of the simplest pleasures I know. Another food I've trusted all my life is fish, especially the oily kinds like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. Those healthy fats help the brain and heart work properly. I didn't grow up eating much salmon, but sardines were common in our pantry. They might seem simple, but they're full of nutrition. A few times a week I also eat good red meat. Not huge portions, just a sensible serving. Red meat provides iron, protein, and vitamins the body needs to stay strong. When meat comes from animals raised naturally, it's real nourishment. Then there are fermented foods, something many people forget about today. We grew up eating things like sauerkraut, pickles, yogurt, and buttermilk. Back then we didn't call them probiotics. We just knew they helped digestion. These foods bring helpful bacteria into the body and keep the stomach working properly. Vegetables are important too. I enjoy simple things like carrots, leafy greens, onions, and cabbage. Nothing fancy, just vegetables cooked with a little butter or olive oil. Real food doesn't need complicated recipes to taste good. And I have one small treat I never skip: raw cacao. Not sugary chocolate bars, but the dark natural powder. Sometimes I stir a spoonful into my coffee. It's rich, a little bitter, but full of natural compounds that give the body a gentle lift. So if someone asked me what foods have carried me through 87 years, my answer is simple: coffee, eggs, berries, and fruit, fish, red meat, fermented foods, vegetables, and cacao. No miracle diet,